Hello. I wanted to take a few minutes and talk about some of the techniques that I have learned in terms of taking a test in a proctored environment using a webcam and a lockdown browser. We've been doing this now at Macomb for over a year, and I would like to share these tips with you to make your experience a little less anxious, nerve-wracking, questioning whether there's going to be a problem with your test when I grade it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is when you're asked to do an ID check. Okay, I've just got a business card here that I'm going to use. But what you want to do is hold it steady in front of the camera, and you can see when it's focused. Usually 2 to 3 seconds is what you need. What you don't want to do is this, because in the playback, the quality of the recording usually is not good enough to catch what I just did. It's going to be blurry, and I may not be able to see what the name was, let alone the face to see if it matches yours. Now, don't worry too much about your appearance, because I know, right, people change hairstyles, men grow beards and shave them, and their hair grows long, and same thing with women, and that's not the key. The key really is, general resemblance, and can I read the name on the ID, and does it match who's on my roster? Okay, so that's the first step, or the first key. The second thing that I want to talk about is you're gonna see a requirement to show your general work area, and we're going to talk about that in more detail. But when you're doing that little check, don't worry too much about it. If you've got a laptop like I'm using right now, just kind of tilt your camera down, or your screen down, and just slide it back and forth. And really what I'm looking for, or what I'm hoping not to see, would be a second device, whether it's a cell phone or a tablet or another laptop or something like that, right? In other words, we're just trying to establish that you've got a clean work environment. So what I want to see is only your paper and pencil, unless it's a course where I've authorized other materials. For example, in statistics, you're allowed to use a graphing calculator and I think it's a 10-page formula card, right? But I will tell you in your particular class what's allowed and what's not. Okay, so don't worry too much about that initial check for your work area. Just kind of pan around as best you can. If you have a standalone camera, it's a lot easier, because you can just grab it and kind of work, just pan around the area a lot easier. Now, in terms of taking the test, this is the main thing I want to talk to you about. In a math class, it's not important for me to see your face the whole time. Okay? I can see who you are when you initially take your picture, right? What I need to see once the test starts is your work area, okay? And what that means is this right here. I need to see your paper, your hands, and whatever you're writing with, okay? And more importantly, it's what I'm not seeing, right? I want to ensure that every student is working from the same level playing ground, so to speak. Okay? I am not trying to catch you doing anything. It's the other way around. I just want to verify that you and everyone else are following the rules. That's it. Okay? So what does that mean? It means that if you are using a laptop, which I'd say 90%, maybe not quite that much, I'll say 3 out of 4, 75%, somewhere in that range, work with laptops. Okay? The nice thing about laptops is they're portable. So you should have some flexibility of finding a room, hopefully, where you've got space. So in the ideal situation, you're going to work from a large table, like a kitchen table is perfect. That may not work in your home. Or maybe you've got a large desk in your bedroom or your office, whatever you have. I'm just in my basement right now. But ideally, what I would like to see is about 2 feet, 2 to 3 feet really, of space between you and your computer screen, where your camera is. Because what that allows you to do, or in this case me, is to slightly tilt my screen down so that my camera is now kind of angled down at the desk, and notice pretty much my whole work area is in place. So now if I'm working on problems, right, I know that my instructor can see what I'm doing, and more importantly what I'm not doing, right? I'm not cheating. I'm not using anything I'm not supposed to have. Okay? Notice my face isn't in view, but the rest of my body is, or my torso, so I can still see it's me. Okay? I don't need to see your face the whole time. All right? Because you're not supposed to leave while you're taking the test, so this is fine. This is an ideal scenario. I can still see the screen, which means I can type my answers, I can read. This is ideal. Okay? I've had students often tell me, based on my situation, even with a laptop, I just don't have that much space. So what can I do? Well, one thing that I've seen students do that works pretty well is kind of an over-the-shoulder approach, right? So now my laptop is closer, really, than would be ideal. But because it's at an angle, right? A slight tip, I can still see the work area, and I can see my screen without really any issues. Okay, so this is kind of when you're in a tighter spot, a little bit over the shoulder, again a tip of the screen, but I don't need a dramatic tip of the screen. I don't need it that much. This is fine. And I can still see my screen. I could type, I could read the problems, type in the answers. So that's another option. The third option with a laptop, if you're in a tight space and for whatever reason the over the shoulder won't work, you can't move it back, you can't get 2 feet back, then this is another option, right? Let me do it this way. I'm reading the problem. Okay, I've jotted down the problem. Now I tilt my screen and I will work the problem. The angle may be such that you're not comfortable, reading. In other words, maybe it's too hard now to see what's on the screen. Well, once you're done working the problem and you're ready to type in your answer, you can go ahead and tilt the screen back up. And this isn't so that I can see your face. This is so that you can see the screen. So it's okay to tilt and raise back up and type in your answers. Okay? Now, obviously there's one more option, and that would be a standalone webcam. And I'm going to do a separate real short video on that as well. Okay, but this is kind of what I want you to get out of this is I need to see your work area. Okay, once you've established that you're you, I need to see you're working the problems. Okay, so I hope this was helpful.